either this brand in your pocket or aspire to get one? Apple. Oh, entire house, almost 99%.
Yeah.
And do you believe that it is a successful brand?
Yes.
So it can relate to the topic that I am going to talk about today, that is secret of success. If you look at the Apple's history, there are two ads that is talked about when we talk about Apple. One ad, the first ad that they made was in 1984. The ad itself called 1984. If you look at the ad, it shows a rebellion. A girl comes and breaks the system. And they aired that ad only 2 times. One was on 31st December 1983. They said that Macintosh is going to be launched on 24th January 1984 and the world will never be the same again. So that was the ad. First time they aired on 31st December 1983 and second time they aired that on 22nd January 1984. After that they didn't air that ad, but we are still talking about that ad and we refer to that ad. So that is the success. Second ad they made in 1997, that's called Think Different. That time IBM was one of the most successful companies in the world and they had this tagline, Think. Apple came up with this ad, Think Different. They had a video of 17 people who changed the world in their own way. That includes people like Mahatma Gandhi, Muhammad Ali, Albert Einstein, Ted Turner. There are so many people. 17 people they named and they said that they changed the world for the betterment. They said, think different, we are in that category. So Mr. Toastmaster and other Toastmasters, today I am going to talk about this topic called secret of success. Okay, so that's the topic, but before talking about the secret, let's understand as what it takes to be a successful person or successful company, successful product. According to me, there are 3 things that we need to understand. The first is how we take certain decisions. The second is why we take that decision. And the third one is, can we influence our own decisions? Or the person who is taking that decision, can we influence that? So it's all about decision making. If we can make good decisions, we can be successful in our life. And it's similar to the life of a product or company or whatever. So today I am going to address these three questions. Why we take certain decisions, how we take that decision, and can we influence that decision. Let's come to the first point. Why we take certain decisions. I believe we all have some emotional triggers that helps us to take that decision. So can you guess as what are those emotional triggers through which we take decisions? Any guesses? Family, yes. Love, affection. That should be one. Any other guesses? We all know that because of certain emotional thing we take decisions.
Passion about something.
Passion.
Experience with something.
Okay. Experience. We have seen something, we have trust on that, so then we take decision.
Insecurity.
Insecurity. So something is alarming, then we take that decision.
Stress.
Stress. Again because of alarm and so we all know that, but let's categorize them in 7 categories and understand why we take decisions. First is passion, as you mentioned. If we are passionate about something, we take that decision. We are passionate about cricket, we go and buy IPL tickets, right? So that's the first one, first trigger. The second trigger is prestige. We go for Mercedes. If we have more money, we want to show something, then we go for Mercedes. Third is mystique. We go for thriller movies. We go for horror movies. Because that's a mystique element. We want to explore more. So that's the third element. The fourth is rebellion. We want to go different. We want to do something which nobody is doing. And that's why we are taking a decision. We go for bungee jumping or some sports which is really dangerous. But we go for that because we want to show our rebellion character. So that's the fourth one. Fifth one is alarm. We go for medical insurance. We go for life insurance because we are alarmed. We are scared of some things and we want to save ourselves from that. Then comes trust. Yes, our friends see that, okay, they are trusting on this, my family is trusting on something, we'll go over with that. So how many we talk about? Passion, prestige, rebellion, mystique, alarm, and sixth one is trust. But if you combine all this, there is just one factor, one emotional factor because of which we take decisions, which is combination of all six. That factor is power. Power is combination of everything. Whatever we do in our life, we do because we want power. Even in our family, in our relationship, if we want something to be heard, we need an emotional power there. We need to be little powerful. In jobs, if you want recognition or promotion, we want power. Even if you go for Mercedes, even if it is our passion, we want to show that we are powerful. So that's the combination of all these six elements. But basically, these 7 things are triggers why we take decisions. So that's the first part, why we take decisions. Now let's go to the second part, how we take decisions. That's a little technical, so we'll have to understand human evolution and little technical things with that. So what do you think, why we take certain decisions? These are the triggers, right? We take decisions, but how we take that decision?
Based on our previous learning or how.
But there is one body part that takes decision, right?
Brain.
So brain. So we are brain. Brain takes decision, but how brain takes that decision? There must be some brain science on the basis of which it takes this decision, right? Okay. So let me talk about brain science a little bit and how it evolved in human beings. We say that Einstein used 2% of his brain. So let's try to understand why we say that. So there is one quadra model of brain that most of people refer when they talk about brain sciences. It says that the evolution of animals, I would say, species started almost around 500 million years ago. That time we had reptilians as the most old, I would say, species. We had dinosaurs, we had snakes and all the reptilians, right? And they had just small brain, tiny brain, that is called reptilian brain. So that's the first brain and the oldest brain that we also have, still have. That's the smallest brain that is here somewhere, like we call it, don't hit here because there's a small brain there. So that's the reptilian brain. And they used to take decisions based on that reptilian brain. And they used to understand only one thing. It's a binary based of decisions, it's very small. Fight or flight. So if they see some animal or something in front of them, so they quickly judge that binary decision, whether I have to fight with that or fight. Because if I fight, I'll be killed or I'll kill. If I fight, I'll save myself. So that's a binary decision that they used to take. And we still have the same brain that takes decisions. And they used to take decisions in blink. Like if you have read this book of Malcolm Gladwell, Blink, he talks about this theory as why the decision that we take in a snap, that is the actual decision. So that's based on the brain science called reptilian brain that we still have. So that's the brain that we use for decision making. And that doesn't have emotion, logic or anything. So if you know snakes can eat their own children, they can eat their own eggs because they do not have emotion. They just know how to take decisions. If they are hungry, they will eat them. If you have seen life of a pie, you understand that why even humans can take decisions when they are put in that situation. Because that is the most oldest brain we have. So that's brain number 1. Now brain number 2. When we evolved as a species, we started being transformed into mammalians. Like we have cows, we have goats, all these mammalians came in picture. And they had emotion also. So they developed a second brain called mammalian brain. And that brain has emotions. So reptilian brain used to take decisions, but mammalian brain has emotions. So they don't eat their children because they have emotion, they have love, they have affection. So that was the brain almost 50 million years ago developed. So that is still there with us. So that's why we have emotions, we have feelings, we have affection. But again, we take decisions based on the reptilian brain itself. Now the third brain came in picture when we started evolving as human beings from chimpanzees and gorillas and all those things. When we started coming as a human being, then our one brain developed that is called neocortex brain. So that is around 5 million years ago, quite new, and that brain is responsible for logic. So whatever technical developments that we see in the world is because of our third brain called neocortex brain. So if you do some calculation and take a decision based on that, so that is because of our third brain called neocortex. But that is not the correct decision because you are using logic to take that decision. Your actual decision is the decision that you take on a blink. Love at first sight, you might have heard. So that's the true decision that we make, and that's actually true. I'll come to that. So that's logic. The fourth brain that we have is very new, just 50,000 years ago. if you compare in a year, then 364 days, 23 hours, 50 minutes would be your reptilian brain. In just a few seconds, we have this newest brain called pre-cortex brain. And that brain is responsible for imagination, dreaming, futuristic thinking. Now when we say that is the biggest brain that we have, and now when we say that Einstein used only 2%, we talk about this brain, fourth brain, he used only 2%. If we can use most of this part, then we could be like, we can reach different planets altogether. Okay. So these four brains are there, and the point I was talking about how we take decision. So we take decision, the actual decision based on our reptilian brain, that is in a blink. But why we go wrong most of the time? Because we mix our actual decision with our emotions, with logic, with so many other things. So when we mix our actual decision with logic and emotion, then we derive to some different decision, and that is a wrong decision. Now the third part that I was talking about, how we can influence our decision and how we can make sure that we can influence decision of others also. That is what big people do, like Steve Jobs, if he is successful, he is influencing his decision as well as our decision. We know that the 60% of money is going to Apple, but we still buy them because he is influencing our decision. So how he is doing that? So the key is you cut the middle part, cut the crap, the mammalian brain and the neocortex brain. You cut both of these together, throw it out when you are taking a decision. You know that the decision making is based on your reptilian brain, use that. And the fourth brain that is used for imagination, futuristic thinking, all the planning that you are doing is the precortex brain. So based on the precortex brain, whatever imagination you have in the future, take decision based on your reptilian brain. Don't involve logic, emotion and all. Now you might be wondering, as without putting emotion, logic, how can we take a decision? That could be wrong. I'll narrate a couple of incidents from the book called Ding of Malcolm Gladwell that is based on the research. So University of Iowa professor Nalini Ambedkar, she did a research on finding the effectiveness of a teacher. So she surveyed the students of that teacher who had attended the class for one semester and asked about the effectiveness. Students gave their feedback. Now she showed the video of this teacher to a different set of people who had not attended the class but attended 5 minutes of video tutorial. She got the feedback from that set of students. She showed this video to people with sound mute video to a different set of students for 2 minutes and then for 10 seconds. So 4 different sets of students. One who had attended her class the teacher's class for 6 months, one who had attended video class for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, one with 2 minutes mute sound, and one with just 10 seconds. And interestingly, all the feedbacks were same. How is that possible? That if I attend a class for 6 months, I am giving the same feedback as a person who has just seen a mute video for 10 seconds. It means the decision is taken on a blink itself, even if I attend the class for 6 months. You might have experienced when a teacher enters or a boss enters, you have your opinion formed. And most of the time you remain with that opinion for your entire period you are interacting with that person. That's one survey, I would say, or one study. Second study I would like to mention in the Indian context. We all have known this company called Bajaj. When Bajaj came up with a luxurious bike that it turned, if you look around 10 years back, 15 years back, we had bikes in the range of 30 to 40,000. We had this Splendor, very successful bike in India. That time Bajaj planned for a sports looking bike, luxurious bike, and they priced it at the range of 65 to 70,000. When we had bikes in 35 to 40 range. Sorry to use this word, Hindi word, but in that range it came. So Bajaj went for a market study with McKinsey, the topmost management consulting firm. McKinsey came up with a report saying that if you are launching a bike in the range of 65 to 70,000 in India, it will not be successful. Because Indian mindset is to go for a cheaper product, and if they have a product like Splendor and other bikes, Kawasaki and all, which is available in 35,000 range, they will not go for a 65 or 70,000 range, and your bike would not be successful in the market. Cecil Bajaj got this report. He threw that report in the dustbin. He said, "This is my scheme. Although I went for McKinsey consulting, but I'll go ahead with this bike." And he launched Bajaj Pulsar in the market. And now you know where we are. Bajaj Pulsar captured the market like anything. Today it is one of the most successful bikes in India. How is that possible? He didn't believe the McKinsey study, which was the topmost consulting firm in the world, and he went with his blink, his snap decision. So these are a couple of studies that shows that when you take a decision on a blink, a snap decision, most of the time it is the correct decision. The problem comes when we mix our decision that we take in a blink with logic and emotion. So we have emotional bonding with a company, we have emotional bonding with our family, friends, place. Then we take decision, okay, probably this is not the best decision I could take. Based on the current circumstances, I'll take this decision. And then the problem starts. Similarly, we put on lots of logic. If, say, I got an offer from a different company, this company is not doing good in the market, what is the future of this company, location they are giving me in a different location. There's so many logic that I start calculating. I don't go by my intuition. I don't go by the snap judgment that my brain is telling me that, okay, this is the decision for you, you go with that. I don't believe in that. I believe more in my experience. We talked about experience, right, as one of the factors. So I go by experience, I try to analyze that, put logic in that, put emotion in that, and then come up with a decision. So that becomes a mix of so many things, and most of the time it's not the correct decision. It may be possible that after doing all these calculations, logic, emotion, we might still arrive to a decision that was the initial decision. Right? In that case, it could be true, but it's not the actual decision, because it's not the mammalian brain and neocortex brain which is responsible for our logic and emotion. They are not the decision makers. Okay. So if you look at the futuristic now approach, how we could be successful in the future. So two things we have to remember. We know that everything that we do, we'll do it for power. All the emotional aspects are there, but power is the main thing. Second, when we have to take a decision, we have to look for our imagination and go with our reptilian brain for that instinct decision that comes, snap decision. And if we have to study something that in future, there's a science called neuroscience that is coming up, and neuromarketing, which is going to be the key in future. Next 5-10 years, you will hear a lot about neuromarketing, neurosciences, brain sciences and all. And that will be the futuristic study as per me, as per my study. So in short, I would say that we need to remember three things before taking a decision. One, why we are taking this decision, which are the emotional factors, power, passion, prestige, rebellion. We need to understand that. And if you want to influence others' decision, when Apple product comes, it comes with all the decision factors, like it has power, it has rebellion, it has trust, everything is included. That's why you go for that. So if you are launching some product or company, make sure that you cater to almost 7, if not 7, then 5-6 factors, so that the decision is influenced. If we are taking a decision, we need to be aware that why we are taking that. Second, our snap judgment, snap decision that we take. That is the most important thing. We need to understand, we need to listen. And third, we need to influence them with our imagination, with futuristic thinking. So that's all I have. And if we have any questions, any comments on this, we'll take that after the session. Back to you.